Hey, are you constantly answering the page every time the barbarian gets a boo-boo? Do you find yourself always impressed by life's never-ending resilience?
Life, finds a way.
Well, congratulations! You might be a life cleric. But what is a life cleric? Well, grab a holy book and a healthy living magazine, get fitted for some scrubs and some plate mail, and try not to get a big head when you bring back Grandpa for the third time this month because we're... Healers are a trope in just about every type of game, from RPGs to FPSs to MMOs and yes, even MOBAs. Healing is an essential gameplay mechanic that can make the difference between a horrible slog through a dangerous wasteland and a hearty jaunt with your buddies. Why do you think clerics are one of the most banned classes in our beloved game of Dice and Dragons? It's because a good one can turn a fight with an ultimate chaotic evil into an absolutely one-sided slugfest, and send your CR70 Draco Lich Wizard King into the Shadow Realm faster than you can pick a god and pray. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that the healer is vital to the party's vitality, and no one really does it quite like the life cleric. The life cleric's job is protecting life in its many forms, and while this might make them seem a little high and mighty with their ideology, I think it makes for an interesting dynamic in a game where one of your main activities is clobbering goblins. And while paladins with their oaths of loyalty and vengeance can be weirdly malleable, yours is much more Hippocratic. But that doesn't mean we can't scrap when we need to. Life clerics protect life, but that also means they need to defend it. And those who seek to end a life before its natural conclusion or sully it with unnatural undeath may soon find themselves at the business end of our mace. So whether we're smacking down a zombie or mending a broken arm, we try our best to be the good guys. But that doesn't mean we're not badass. But first, are you running out of hard drive space for all your amazing ideas? Does your party note-taker keep forgetting to email you the doc and now everybody's lost? Well, my friends over at World Anvil may have the solution. World Anvil is the #1 place to keep your party up to date on everything you do with your custom world. And with tons of exclusive tools like timelines, map makers, and drawing boards, you too can flesh out every detail of your realm or help your friends catch up with whatever game you're running. Keeping track of rules, lore, and everything else needed to run a game can be a major hassle, but with support for over 45 RPG systems, World Anvil can make sure you never get lost. So if you can't wait to give World Anvil a try, you can do so absolutely free. But for extra tools, extra features, extra worlds, and extra fun, you can hop down to my link below and use YMBA DND at checkout for 51% off for a year. Once again, that's YMBA DND at checkout for 51% off for a whole year. So, go forge your next adventure with World Anvil. A big thanks to World Anvil for sponsoring the show, and now, back to the video. So you want to learn the meaning of life and are tired of everyone telling you it's 42. Well, to do that, you better start out as a cleric. Clerics are cool because unlike most classes, they figure out their stuff right away and gain a whole bunch of spellcasting from choosing their divine path. As a life cleric, you'll draw your holy magic from one of the many good gods like Lathander or Ilmater, or from an extreme undiagnosed savior complex. Cleric spells are special because they allow you to access the entire spell list right off the bat. So you can always take party support options like your domain spells, bless, and cure wounds to give 3 creatures an extra d4 to attacks and saves, or pick your buddies back up when they take a nasty hit. Or for a little DPS in a dangerous dungeon, you can rely on classics like Guiding Bolt or Sacred Flame to add a little blaster to this caster. But we're at our best when providing backup, so as a Disciple of Life, all your healing spells will get a major boost, gaining an additional 2 plus the spell's level and hit points each time you cast, which pairs really nicely with your bonus proficiency in heavy armor, so you can hang back and act as a tin-can field medic to protect yourself and your friends. At 2nd level, we can pray extra super duper extra hard and channel our divinity. This will give us the old cleric classic turn undead to scare away any undead creature from a standard zombo to a toothy Count Chocula as long as they fail a wisdom saving throw, forcing those creepy corpses to turn tail and beat cheeks as far away from you as possible for a minute. But we're the nice cleric, so it's important that we do some nice stuff and preserve life. This will bring forth that healer energy and choose any creatures within 30 feet of you and give them back a number of hit points equal to 5 times your cleric level. And you can restore hit points up to half the ally's hit point maximum. This is one of those abilities that keeps getting better as you level up, as 10 extra hit points to spread around may not sound like much right now, but 50 to 100 hit points at levels 10 and up can be a major boon in a rough fight. And using this after a few of your party pals have been knocked out is one of the best and cheapest ways to get back in the fight. But it's already 3rd level and we'll do some good around the kingdom with our 2nd level domain spell, Lesser Restoration. regeneration, to act as the local doctor and patch up anybody suffering from blindness, deafness, paralysis, or a poison. And while we could possibly charge enough to bankrupt an entire family for generations, the goal of medicine is to provide aid to those who need it, right? Who would possibly do the other thing? That's just pure evil. But maybe being nice isn't getting you anywhere, and you're ready to bring down some divine justice. Well, my favorite little cleric spell, Spiritual Weapon, has the juice to do just that. Spiritual Weapon lets you summon any weapon you can think of, from a meaty battle axe, a giant greatsword, or the disappointment of the church, to literally weaponize religious guilt. And since you can summon this weapon as a bonus action and let it take a swing every round, you're essentially never alone in a fight, as your doctrine made manifest is always there by your side. Just don't let the warlock try and hold it. It'll probably make their skin sizzle. And that'll take us straight to level 5 with the ability to destroy undead. A great upgrade to our turn undead that smokes any skeletons under a certain challenge rating. As well as 2 more domain spells, Beacon of Hope. Did I read that right? Nope, just hungry. Beacon of Hope is a spell I've talked about before and lets all our healing spells automatically do max dice rolls, as well as give advantage on wisdom saving throws as long as you're in the radius. Fantastic for a deadly encounter when the DM forgot they had a session that day and threw a demi-lich at some level 5 adventurers, but that's why we need Revivify, a must-have for any cleric, and allows you to defibrillate a downed friend that's died within the last minute and put them back at their feet at 1 hit point. And while absolutely vital to party success, this spell is expensive to cast. So just keep track of those diamonds, or you might have to explain to Steve why his barbarian is permadead after trying to headbutt a boulet. 6th level gets us Blessed Healer, which is the perfect complement to Disciple of Life, as you too now gain 2 plus the spell's level and hit points each time you use a healing spell. But we'll gain 4th level spells at level 7 because D&D is confusing, and Guardian of Faith is super cool to pair with Spiritual Weapon, as including yourself, you can have 3 fighters on the field at once, and let them tank hits and deal damage as you provide support. But Death Ward is honestly much funnier. Death Ward acts like an automatic +1, letting you respawn right where you were if you take so much damage that it would kill you. Very cool, but I like the dumb things that you can do with it. My favorite being the ability to survive insane falls from stupid heights by casting this on yourself and taking nature's elevator off the side of a mountain. It'll hurt, but you'll live. As long as you don't, bounce, I guess. And at level 8, we'll get the choice between Divine Strikes or Blessed Strikes. This is going to depend a little bit on how you build your character, but the former allows you to add extra damage to your weapon attacks equal to 1d8, increasing to 2d8 at level 14, while the latter lets you add 1 straight d8 to either weapon attacks or cantrips. But our final domain spells come at level 9 with Mass Cure Wounds, to cure wounds massively, letting you pick out 6 creatures in a 30-foot radius, giving them 3d8 plus your wisdom mod and healing, as well as 7 extra to them and yourself. Fantastic. Or we can always just let our pals eat it in combat and instead raise dead. This spell is crazy and costs a 500 gold diamond to cast, but can essentially bring back any dead person as long as the corpse is less than 10 days old. Wild. And while this may sound like some necromancer shit, which it kinda is, don't tell anybody. The church won't let us have those little crackers anymore. You're essentially using your divine magic to become master of death itself. That'll get us to level 10, where we let some being beyond our mortal understanding take the wheel and call forth a divine intervention. This lets you call on your Sky Daddy to help you out in a time of crisis, but only works if you roll your level or below on a D100. But if you get lucky, this usually turns out to be a spell, but a cool DM may grant some unique requests depending on the circumstances. I know I'd be using this to mess with my coworkers on the daily. Janice from accounting keeps eating part of my lunch, and if the gods will a laxative into her next bite, who am I to stop them? And that's it for a minute. It's funny, clerics are jam-packed full of cool stuff for 10 straight levels, and then it just drops off hard. But at least we have cool thematic spells like Heal, Regenerate, Holy Aura, or Mass Heal to tide us over till we finally hit that precious level 17 and gain Supreme Healing. Now you basically are always under the effects of Beacon of Hope, letting you heal the max hit points for every healing spell you cast. And since that still includes all your bonuses, you can make simple spells like Healing Word into a real lifesaver, with the lowest roll being 12 hit points, which is pretty good for a bonus action. But Mass Healing Word, Mass Cure Wounds, and even Regenerate get this treatment, making you the absolute master at giving death the old Digitus Medius. And we'll end on a high note with perfect divine intervention, to make sure your divine intervention always succeeds. So you can ask for more and more ridiculous things to test your faith in your chosen god, or if it's too weird, have them test their faith in you. But can the Life Cleric save our mortal soul? The Life Cleric is the go-to cleric for most people's first time playing D&D. It's funny that I happen to do this subclass and the Devotion Paladin side by side, because in a lot of ways they're very similar. Luckily, I think for the most part the Life Cleric avoids some of the PHB effect many subclasses suffer from, and while it's pretty basic in terms of abilities, basic doesn't mean bad. I like how focused the Life Cleric is on keeping your party from going down. You are a ready and constant source of hit points, and that's a good thing, especially in tough encounters. Weirdly, my largest complaint though isn't exactly the subclass, but how healing is designed in D&D in general. D&D healing is almost purposely incentivized to let your party get down before you heal. Because large monsters do so much damage, a healing spell can be wasted easily if the next attack downs the players anyway. And while I like your Preserve Life ability, I think it needs two major boosts. More hit points to spend, and to get rid of that dumb limiter on only half hit points can be regained per character. You are the healing subclass, that's what you do. Just let us do it. And since your two other healing abilities don't benefit from the channel divinity, you're not getting those extra hit points to yourself and allies, which I think is a missed opportunity. Otherwise, the Life Cleric is solid, and is saved because the Cleric class is just so good. And while yes, mechanically speaking, they may not be the most optimized, I think that's okay. The point of the subclass is to be the field medic anyway, so getting those great healing spells off on your mainliners will be your job when a fight rolls around. And as I mentioned before, spells like Spiritual Weapon give you plenty of opportunities to do damage and focus on keeping the party alive at the same time, which is always a lot of fun. So even with its faults, I like the Life Cleric. I think it has just the right mix of plenty to do and enough roleplay potential to not get stale and feel pretty strong in-game, so that's great. Especially when you're the last one standing and it's up to you which party members get raised from the dead. So if you're basically Mother Teresa but actually helpful, you can protect the living while bullying the unalive, and may be a little self-righteous but always deliver results, guess what? You might be a Life Cleric. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. For everyone who hung around this long, I hope you are doing well and taking care of yourself. It's been a stressful few months for a lot of people out there, including myself, so instead of a quote this week, I want to just remind everyone to love themselves, try to find time for relaxation, and if possible, spend as much time you can with those you love. If you like the channel and what I do, you can join these awesome people on screen and support our channel over on Patreon. Patrons can get a shout out for just $1, with top-tiered patrons getting games DM'd by me. So to those mad lads, King Osiris, Miles Nahyard, Spider Lover Tedzy, and Sora Sin, y'all are the best. For everyone else, you can always catch me over on the Discord, but if not, I'll see you very soon.